Hey y'all, and welcome back to a new video of a game that I played in a tournament recently, where I managed to sacrifice both of my rooks, which is pretty cool when you get not one but two rook sacrifices in a game. So we're just gonna start up with it. We go d4. This is the opening that I normally play, queen's pawn. Basically just deciding that to play a little more solid of a game. Black can play knight f6, a d5, or c5 here. All makes sense. E6 is also a move, but it's a little less common. My opponent opts for knight f6, which is of course a line. And what I like to play here is just move bishop g5, which enters the Trempowski attack. An opening that I like to play very often against this move. I don't really like the lines after c4, which are the main lines, basically because it kind of invites white into Nimso. Of course, I could play into a London or something, but then maybe like bishop e4 check, maybe something like that. I just don't really like those lines, and everyone has studied them. So when I decided on opening, I decided on one that was very good, but not a lot of people know, right? So this is bishop g5, the Trempowski attack, makes a lot of sense. And my opponent decides to go with this line knight e4. The most common move at the lower levels, simply targeting my bishop and asking me to move it down to f4 for some reason, but that's not what we're gonna do. That's not what we're gonna do. Instead, we go very aggressive, and this is all theory. We go h4, and my opponent already has their first think of the game here. They kind of realize that they don't really understand the opening, which is kind of silly after move 3 being like in 1835 in US chess. US Chess Federation rating, so that equates to around like 2300 online. And what my opponent does here, he decides to go with this move h6, which is a move, but it's clear to me that he doesn't know what he's doing. What you should do here is just revert back to d5 or c5 and try to keep it interesting like that, but instead h6, bishop f4 is a no-brainer. We don't want to go bishop e3 because then we wouldn't be able to play e3 in the future, which we want to do to get our light squared bishop out. My opponent goes e6, and then I go with this idea knight d2. Very simple. Targeting the knight. If he's going to go here, I will go here. I'm fine with him having these doubled pawns. He will be able to defend them, but it makes sense for me to do that. I go c4, I go for something like this, queen b3, maybe long castles, and maybe like f3 at some point, try to take with the knight, and something like that. But my opponent takes, I take back with my queen, and we're already doing very, very well out of the opening. Everything is going very well. I've kind of accomplished what I need to do. As you can see, I have the center control, I have the flank control, so I'm better on the king side and in the center. Nothing really has happened in the queen side. Also, I have two pieces developed, and he has no pieces developed, which is kind of cool. Of course, the dark bishop can get developed very quickly, knight can get developed very quickly, but you see my point, right? So it's clear that white has an advantage. My opponent goes d5, of course, trying to take control of the center. Makes lots of sense. I go e3, didn't have to spend much time on that either. Idea being c4, maybe knight f3, maybe bishop d3 just by itself. Something like that. I just need to get my light squared bishop out. I've got to finish my development, of course. And my opponent decides to go with this move, c5. Very logical move. c5 makes a lot of sense, right? He's trying to get the queen out. First of all, he's trying to get the knight on c6 without blocking the c pawn, which is very important in a lot of these d4 structures. And he might want to take in the future. So I thought for a little bit, and I played the best move. It was between two moves for me. It was between this move c3, which is not the best move and not what I played. Being after it captures, I would take back with the pawn. I have good play, but I decided to do knight f3 first, which is correct. Idea being, if he takes, I just take back with the pawn, and now my position is really, really good. I have this move coming. I have knight e4 immediately, which is important. This pawn doesn't need stabilization immediately because he can't really attack it. If he goes with this, well, I mean, at the very least c3, but you know my idea. Like queen b6, and like this, like I get c3. Very, very like smally, but yeah, I don't need to play c3 immediately. That's my point, and we're doing very good already. So he doesn't take because he's 1800 and he knows what he's doing, and instead he plays the move queen b6. Very reasonable. And I thought here for a little bit. A couple of moves I considered. First of all, I thought b3 was insane and stupid. Actually, at like depth, at like really high depths, b3 is like the top engine line, which is insane. I don't even understand. There are lines where you can sack the pawn, which makes some sense, like bishop d3. Not bishop d3, bishop e2 maybe. Yeah, bishop e2, and after it takes, we just go castle, and we can like get some play immediately. Like that could be what I play. But really, I thought, what am I even calculating here? Let's play c3. Let's not do anything crazy. c3 makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, okay, what are we doing? We're getting the pawn to c3. We're defending this, and we're getting a very nice solidified structure. I didn't see any point not to play it, right? My opponent goes knight d7, and I already have a very, very strong advantage. And I keep playing correctly. Again, I didn't think I had to spend much time, and I played bishop d3. Very reasonable move. We are playing hour-long chess, so we do have a little bit of bonus time as well, and it allows me to spend like a couple minutes on a move. Bishop d3 I thought made a lot of sense. I'm just developing a piece. I might maybe eyeing the king at some point, maybe I want g4, g5, you never know. And it's a little bit ridiculous. If he plays c4, what happens is just bishop e2, and then these pawns are a weakness. I can go queen c2 and exploit them immediately with b3 ideas, and then I kind of start pushing on the queen side and get a very, very good position. He doesn't play c4, and instead plays bishop d6, which is the move I kind of expected here. And now the point of the game comes where I make a mistake. Not a very hard mistake to make. I calculated something very superficially. Well, not very superficially. I just calculated this. I thought it made sense. It was this idea after bishop d6. Of course, queen takes. I had to calculate this, and I thought, okay, I take with the pawn. Take. I was always trying to do this, and like if knight takes, I was gonna play this move e4, which I thought was very cool, and he wouldn't be able to take because I would just take the knight with this pin on the queen, right? This was my idea. And I thought that after this, and queen takes, I thought that I would be better because I would be able to have like a very good compensation against the queen with maybe like rook c1 ideas, maybe e4 immediately, something like that, right? And I thought that this was like enough. This was like enough. But I'm wrong. This is good. This is fine. It's inaccurate, but it's fine. It's like plus 0.4, as you can see. What I should have done here, and what I missed, and it's honestly, it's very hard. It's very hard to see. I'm not mad at myself for missing this. This is kind of a crazy line. It's this move, long castles. And what you notice here, black doesn't have a move. It looks like black has an attack on my king, and that's why this move doesn't come to mind. And it looks like black has an attack over here. But actually, black doesn't have anything. If black plays c4, I play bishop c2. Make a move for black. Queen a6, attacking this. Now I can like take the bishop here and like even break in the center with e4 at the very least, right? And then white is better. Another line that's interesting, like after this, like if he takes this bishop, he's actually like always losing because I get g5, g4, g5, and I just like crush him on the king side. Like castles, it's over. It's over after g4. This is GG's. Honestly absurd, honestly crazy stuff. I did not, and this idea of long castles never came to me. I didn't even think about this once during the game, and it comes up a couple of times, but instead I just took on d6 because I calculated this line and it looks correct, right? And after queen takes, I take on c5, and actually knight takes is the best move. Knight takes here is the best move, but I thought that after e4 I was doing better. Because after it takes, I thought this check. Oh, okay. I didn't see this. Yeah, and I'm just down a pawn. Oh, okay. I didn't see that at all. I mean, like, at least I get some play after takes long castles with check, king e7, knight e5. I guess I'm just losing. Oh, okay. Well, I just missed that the king could defend that. That's not good. That's not good. Yeah, I didn't see that line, but he decides not to take with the knight, and instead takes back with the queen, seeing the same line I did after e4 probably, and I decided here that I could play e4. I could play this move e4, But I decided against it. I thought breaking the center was a little too early because I thought after castles he might get a rook here, and then my queen is kind of in the way, and I don't really know. Best move was bishop c2, and then like queen d3 ideas, and like attacking him over here. I mean, it makes sense, but like after knight f6, what am I doing, right? Like I don't really understand this. Like he plays bishop d7, he gets the rooks to the file. I don't know about this. I really don't know about this. And I decided not to break the center right away because I just thought my queen was under fire. So instead, I decided to play something a little more classy with this move, rook c1. Very interesting move. Basically deciding, okay, I'm going to play c4. You can't stop me from playing c4 now. I wanted to play c4 in the last move. I wanted to play c4 here, but after this, it doesn't work because of b5. And I would just be losing a pawn, right? So I want to play rook c1 first, and then I want to play c4. If he plays b5 and stops me, I thought that I could even play b3, but probably not. Maybe b4 or something, and I could attack this weakness in the long run. Maybe knight here in the future, maybe e4 after that, and I could get some very interesting play, right? But instead, after rook c1, my opponent doesn't do that, and they decide to go knight f6. Very reasonable move. Trying to get the knight out makes a lot of sense. He's maybe trying to go here in some lines. My knight doesn't have the most amount of squares ever, but you know it can go to the center right now. It's doing pretty well. It's an interesting line. It's an interesting move. But I thought, okay, you know what? Let's go c4. This is what my position is hinging on. If you go knight here, I'm winning after. Oh man. I thought I was winning after this move, but I'm not. I like positionally better. Like I get some play on the queen side. Actually, I win after this move, which is kind of fun. Takes. Knight f3. It looks like I'm doing kind of badly, but at the end of the day, I'm just up a pawn. And there's nothing that he can do. Like after castles, I'm doing quite well. After like king e2, rook here, maybe. Yeah, something like that. And I'm doing really well. After c4, I thought that I was doing quite well, and my opponent plays a pretty decent move. He plays bishop b7. Okay, very reasonable. He trying to develop his bishop, maybe trying to get the rook on this file. Okay, makes a lot of sense. And I was like, okay, I got two options. I could take this, but I didn't think this was right. I was like, why am I doing this? Isn't he out of the woods now after queen d5? This doesn't look correct. It was just like an intuitive thing. It doesn't look right that I'm doing this. It just looks kind of like, I don't know. It looks like I'm going in the wrong direction. It looks like I need to play more on the queen side and on the center and keep the queen out of dodge. So I came up with this nice idea. I'm just pushing my pawns. b4. I'm just going at him. I'm coming at him like a freight train basically. And I thought after queen e7, I don't know, maybe I'll play cd now, and then after like knight takes, I can play like a3. And I mean, at the very least, this position is equal, right? It's equal. I knew I had an advantage earlier, but I probably messed it up. But like, it's equal. It's an equal position, and I can play it. Instead of queen e7, my opponent played a horrible move and immediately allowed me to get play. He played queen d6, and I was like, what? That's stupid. Why would you ever play queen d6? That's such a bad move. It allows c5, and now I have a 3-on-2 on the queen side. What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? Now I got c5, 3-on-2 on the queen side, and I'm doing great. It's been 16 moves, and I'm sure that white has an advantage here. I'm positive that white has an advantage here. He goes queen c7, and I play a move that Stockfish at a high depth loves, but Stockfish at a lower depth kind of hates. Play b5. Depth 25 Stockfish thinks this is plus 0.4, which is pretty nice. I'm not going to go to depth 25 because that would like short circuit my computer with OBS open. So we're only going to go to depth 21. But as you can see, like I'm doing pretty well. I'm literally just taking away his oxygen. Now he's cramped. He can't play this move. Like this move is probably losing due to c6. Right? Like here, I mean, anything is winning. Everything is winning. Queen b4. Now he can't castle. bc. I can take back with the bishop. Like this is over, right? I castle next, and then I take. Actually, I'm threatening take with check right now because of, yeah. And it's a little absurd. Only move b6. Like, now I got a passer. And it looks pretty good for me. It looks pretty good for me. So he can't, like, do anything like that. I understood that. So he decides to fight back in the center. e5. Very good move. Very good move. It forces me to go back now. Because he's threatening a fork, of course. He's threatening this. I can't, like, do anything about it. Like, if I play c6, I feel like this is not the right time to play c6. Because he can, like, consolidate pretty easily after, like, takes, pawn takes, bishop c8, maybe. Yeah, it shows line takes, like, bishop e6, I guess. And then I have to go, like, bishop a6, maybe. Try to go for this. Maybe I have play here, but it looks like my pawn is kind of loose, and it's not an endgame yet, so this passer is not going to be very important to me. Instead of doing that, I was like, okay, I play the best move. I play bishop e2. I thought that going back with the bishop made the most sense because the bishop still controls from a long range, and the knight kind of has to stay around. Because after this move, my knight can come in here, and then I'm probably winning. Just for example, knight d4, I'm much better. My opponent castles. Very reasonable. I castle as well. I didn't really think too much here. My opponent goes rook a8. Interesting move. And I play this move a4. Natural. Now my bishop can move in some lines. And like if he goes like here, I can recapture with the bishop and maybe have pressure over there. Like, I don't know. It's just solidifying my 3-on-2 basically. And my opponent goes rook fd8. Clearly like trying to like play like d4 or something. Trying to like come down in the center. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to move my queen out of the way, queen b2. I'm attacking the e5 pawn. He still can't play this because of knight d4, and I am positionally winning. Instead, he goes knight g4. Very nice move. Threatening this move. Like if I play nothing. He's threatening e4 with a threat of mate and attacking the knight, which learned to defend mate. And I make the worst mistake of the game here. What I can do, and how I'm like easily winning, is this move knight d2, and this wins on the spot. And I'll tell you why I didn't play this move. For some reason, I was calculating this so poorly. I thought that he had an extra tempo here. Like. Oh wait, no. The move I calculated after knight d2 was actually right. G3 is wrong. I thought after e4, and I can't go like up here because I thought knight takes e3, and this is kind of losing. I was right here. It was like some other line. Maybe I just didn't look at knight d2, but knight d2 makes a lot of sense. If I play knight d2. I'm just doing quite well. I'm threatening this move e4, trying to stop him. If he plays e4 himself, then I just grab the knight. There's no more attack. And my attack bursts through over here, c6. And I'm better. Instead of doing that, I was like, why am I moving my knight? Then I lose this idea. I really want my knight to go to d4. He can't allow that. And I play this move knight h2, which is such a bad move. Half of it was a draw offer, actually, because this was round 3 of the tournament, right? And I had lost rounds 1 and 2, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just gonna offer a draw. If he wants to go knight f6, knight f3 with me, I am more than happy. With knight f6, knight f3, and I'm like, you know what, do it. If you want a perpetual check, do it. But in the back of my mind, I was like, you know what? If he repeats with me, I might repeat with him once and then try to find something else. Because I like doing that sometimes. After knight f6, he does play this. I play knight f3 pretty quickly. And I'm like, after you repeat with me and like try to go for a draw, he's going to spend a lot of time here, right? Maybe I'll do that thing that grandmasters do. and not repeat. Maybe like after this, I'll find something else. Maybe I'll find knight d2 now. I don't know. I didn't see this from afar. But like when I played the move knight h2, I was ready for a draw basically. Instead, my opponent is the one that broke the perpetual and played this move rook e8. Very normal move, defending this pawn and keeping everything together. Now I decided, okay, well, this is kind of a waste of time because you played this move and now you're going back. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's go rook fd1. Let's bring my other rook to the party. It's the last piece that isn't playing, right? This is the only piece that isn't playing, so let's bring it to the party. Target this pawn in some lines. You know, it looks active. It could work sometime. And like, this is a good idea. My opponent goes rook cd8. Clearly not knowing what they're doing. They clearly don't know what they're doing here. And I understood. I was like, you know what? That is a sign of a person that doesn't understand the position at all. They don't understand the position at all. So they're shuffling their rooks around and they're trying to make some moves and trying to keep the time up. And here we were like at the 15-minute, 10-minute mark. So we were going to start speeding up. And I was up on time by like a couple minutes. And I was desperately trying to find a move. I was desperately trying to find a move here. But I couldn't find one. I spent a third of my time. I had 18 minutes on the clock. I spent 6 minutes on this move. And I basically gave myself like a time limit. Like a deadline. If I was unable to make a move in like a certain amount of time, I was unable to find a move, I was just gonna play queen b4 because it looks like a little active. I'm getting in, you know, like maybe I'm like trying to get around this way in some lines. I don't know. It looks active, and it makes sense. It's an interesting move. It's the move I played. It keeps the advantage of like plus 0.4. But what I could have done here is I could have like won the game. A5. Looks like I'm losing a pawn, but I'm not because I win this pawn, so we can't take it. And what he does, I honestly, I don't even know. Like bishop g4 looks kind of natural. Then I play b6, takes. I take back with the c pawn, queen b8, and now I go with this move, rook c7. And I saw this line. But I didn't see rook c7. This is what I missed. Here I was just thinking, wait, what am I doing? What am I doing? Now he has a pawn that controls two of my pawns. Why am I liking this? Because like this move doesn't really ever work. Here, takes. I kind of lose here. So like that doesn't ever work. What am I doing? Yeah, and I didn't see rook c7, which would actually win the game. Because I get my rooks to the 7th rank, and then I kind of like brutalize him. Instead of playing this move a5 after queen b4, which was my ultimatum move, my opponent played the move bishop g4, which makes sense, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Now I kind of gotta go in. I gotta go all in. So I played c6, which is a big mistake. It's a big mistake to do this move d4. No, not e4, d4. Sorry, I'm reading the engine right now. A big mistake to do this move e4, right? And like if I take here queen b7, I can't do this, and he kind of shuts down my queen. He gets a big attack on my king, and it's like not good. Like this is bad. Like e4, my knight can't defend my bishop anymore, so I just lose a piece here. Like it gets real rough. It gets real rough, and I didn't see this move d4 at all. Very nice move, but my opponent didn't see it either and plays not a very good move. He plays bc6, and I was like, oh, bc6. It looks like it gives me a lot of pressure. I get my rook in. This is some good stuff. And what I'm threatening here, I'm threatening a rook sacrifice, and I think you know where this is going. I'm threatening this move, rook takes f6. Lodging defense of the bishop. If the bishop takes my knight, my rook captures. I'm up a piece. If he takes, I take the bishop. 2 pieces for the rook. That's a pretty easy sacrifice. Looks like he's gonna see it. I thought queen e7 was forced here. Queen e7 is forced. After queen e7, he's defending the knight. Yeah, but I actually have to take, and I'm actually winning after the move king f1. Ridiculous stuff. Basically, what's gonna happen here after like king f8? I don't actually understand the idea. What about like, I don't know. What happens if I do that? I go knight d2, take, d4, e4. Oh, and it just says that my king is more active in the endgame, and I got these and I got this 2-on-1. Okay, that makes sense. That's why it's saying I get such a big advantage. I didn't see that. So I thought queen there was forced. Actually, the only move for black is queen d7, which is kind of nice, just defending the bishop. And he's doing very well here. He's doing quite well. Defending the bishop because after this, now the bishop is defended, so I don't have this. Queen takes. Instead, my opponent doesn't see that and plays move queen b8. So, well, you've waited this long. Let's get to the rook sacrifices. Rook takes f6, brilliant move. First one. It looks like it doesn't work. I thought about this and I was like, did he see it? I don't think it works. What about e4? Cutting off the queen's attack to the bishop. The rook is hanging, the knight is hanging. Here I calculated rook f4, takes, and I'm winning here because I'm simply up a pawn and I have this big attack on black's king. And I saw that. But my opponent doesn't find it. My opponent doesn't find e4 and instead just takes, and now he's super losing. And after queen g4, king h7, I get my little bit of clickbait with the second rook sacrifice, rook d5. Very, very nice. I love clickbait and YouTube. Yes, I do. Basically saying if he takes, I have this check and I pick up the rook with a double attack on the king and the rook. Very nice. He has to take. And now here. And what happens here? I'm only up a pawn and 2 pieces for the rook, but it's over. It's over because his king is just so weak. These pawns are always a nuisance, so he has to defend them. And I'm just going to pick up more pawns. My queen's going to hunt. Like this move, for example, just attacks everything. It's terrifying. Rook d8. I go queen e4. Now my queen is coming over here. I'm going to get everything going. I'm going to win the game. Everything's quite nice. My opponent goes queen d6. And now I play this move h5. Another one of the best moves. Now my knight is getting in. This move, knight here, is a threat of a fork with the queen and the king. But it's even worse because now my queen's getting in. I'm going to take this pawn in some lines. It's over here. My opponent goes rook h8. I go with this move queen b7. We're only down to like 4 or 5 minutes at this point, so we're playing pretty fast. And I'm threatening everything. There's nothing he can really do. My opponent goes queen c5, defending the pawn. Now I go knight h4. Now I'm bringing the knight in. Now I'm getting the knight here. Maybe the knight's coming here. Maybe the bishop is coming in. It's every piece is getting turned to play. And queen c2, of course, attacking the bishop and defending this square. I had a very nice idea. I play this move queen f3. Pretty cool stuff. If he takes this pawn, I thought he just lost. Like this seems insane. Like knight f5. Yeah, it's mate. King h7, queen d5 is the best move. Yeah, and he just loses here. Just loses. Queen d6. And it's over. Give me one check. It's over. Queen takes f8. This is the main line. And it's GG's, right? So after queen f3, he decides not to do that. He instead defends the king by trying to like bust out the rook. He goes rook, not that move, sorry. Rook d8. Bringing the rook out. Now he's gonna get the king out this way. That was his idea. But now I go knight f5, king f8, and I go with his move queen g4, threatening check here, and I'm winning this pawn, right? So this is why I play this move queen a2. Very natural, very natural move. But now the M has appeared on the evaluation, and it is over. I play a little trick because I have nothing better to do. It's mate in 42 if I go queen g7. But I play a little trick because I thought it was a little cool, and he only had like a minute left on the clock. I think less than a minute at this point, actually. So he had to respect me. I go b6. Now I'm threatening mate. Actually, this is mate in 30 now. And this is quite a nice idea. Basically, after he takes, I go queen g7, king e8, and I go bishop e5 check. And he resigned here, but I decided to put a couple more moves because I don't like people resigning one move away from checkmate. So, checkmate. Either way, that was this game. And I hope you guys enjoyed the double rook sacrifice. That's not something that you can do very often. Of course, only one of the sacrifices was actually interesting, rook f6. The other one was just pretty obvious. But it's nice to get 2 brilliant moves for 2 rooks. So, I hope you like this. Hope you like the clickbait, everything going on. If you did, remember to like, subscribe, do the normal things that YouTubers tell you to do. And yeah, that's all I have for you today. Good evening and good night.